Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Friday, January 7th, the day after the insurrection. In this episode, Chelsea stomps Spurs, Lukaku's back on side, Man United is in bus-throwing mode. But first, Mike, you came around in the Carabao Cup. They got you. You were ready. And then Spurs did the thing that I know you don't like the word, this Spursy.
We were saying right before we recorded that I felt like Tony Soprano in therapy.
They so screwed you.
They fucked me. I was watching that game, but not even that game. I was watching the first 5 minutes of that game. And the second the ball left Jaffa Tanganga's foot in the 4th minute of the game, and it goes in, and I just felt like Tony in therapy, like those motherfuckers. And I just why did I let them do this to me?
You decided. By the way, we'll get into it, but I'm gonna do quick FA
Go
Cup
through
schedule,
all the fucking. I don't think there's that many other.
I'm just gonna run through it as fast as I can, and put a minute on the clock. Swindon plays Manchester City tomorrow at noon. Mansfield Town, Middlesbrough. That's a lot of M's. Hartlepool, Blackpool. Someone's gonna jump in the pool. It's not gonna be me. Fulham, Bristol City. I don't know where those two teams play. Burnley versus Huddersfield. Those are two terrible places no one ever wants to go. Coventry versus Derby County. That's a fun game. Wayne Rooney is the coach of the year in England. By the way, check them out. They have a 21-point deficit. They might get out of the relegation zone. Fuck you, Newcastle. Coventry, they wear sky blue. I like them. In the most violent game of the round, Millwall at home against Crystal Palace. There will be violence.
No one likes us. We don't care.
Newcastle, Cambridge United. I don't know what's going on there. Trippier signed. Peterborough, Bristol. Don't know what that's going on there. Barnsley versus Barrow. Barrow is in the middle of nowhere, and they make submarines there. That is a cool town. West Brom versus Brighton in a battle of teams that used to be in the championships, but now they're not. But West Brom might be back to play Brighton again. Interesting. Leicester versus Watford. That's a Premier League game. I didn't even notice that. The Kidderminster Harriers versus Reading. Wow, Kidderminster, they're back.
Hey, Reading, those are my friends.
Yeah. Port Vale versus Brentford. I don't know where Port Vale is, but I like their name. Wigan. Fuck you, Wigan. I hate you. I'll always hate you. Wigan Athletic versus Blackburn Rovers. Be on the lookout for Brereton Diaz, the man who became a Chilean. Amazing player. QPR versus Rotherham. I don't know where Rotherham is, but I like QPR. West London. Boreham Wood versus AFC Wimbledon. Boreham Wood. Funny name. Wimbledon. A cool team.
Is that the first dick joke of the show?
Hey, that's what I've got. Boreham Wood.
Have a counter.
Anyway,
Ding.
Hull City versus Everton. Hull City, very good in this competition, made it to the final against Arsene Wenger many years ago. It was the first title in 10 years. Chelsea versus Chesterfield. Chesterfield are 13 unbeaten, top of the National League. They get a big payday. Good for Chesterfield. Same place as the cigarettes come from. Probably not. Birmingham City versus Plymouth Argyle. I hear you can get good socks there. It's not the same. I made that up. Swansea versus Southampton. South Coast, lots of S's. I like that game. Not going to watch it. Yeovil Town versus Bournemouth. Yeovil's on the South Coast. Bournemouth on the South Coast. That is a very pleasant game. Yeovil Town is a very pretty seaside town. If you ever go to England, I recommend going to Yeovil. Luton, Harrogate. Don't know. Stoke, Leyton Orient. Hey, Eddie Hearn. Cardiff City, Preston. Preston North End, oldest team in England. Charlton, Norwich. Don't know much about Charlton, but they are in London. Wolves, Sheffield United. There's going to be overlapping fullbacks and guys doing weird stuff. Oh, no, that's their old coach. This is a different Sheffield United. I don't know what they're up to. West Ham versus Leeds. Hey, that's a Premier League game. Way to go. Tottenham versus Morecambe. We talked about the Shrimps and their more come. Simone, that was for you. Very funny.
Love you, Simone.
She sent dirty pictures afterwards. Not of herself, but, you know, my sister. That would be weird.
Good, really important distinction.
Liverpool versus Shrewsbury. The Shrews get to go to Liverpool and play. Good for them. All Nottingham right. Forest versus Arsenal in the Battle of Reds. The two-time European champions. Nottingham Forest.
Get
to play Arsenal. And we round off the FA Cup third round, one of the most glorious and biggest days in English football with Man United versus Aston Villa. And I will tell you this, Villa's going to beat United because they are in disarray. And we'll get after that after you talk about Spurs.
How was that? Do I have to? Yes, I do. Minutes. And here's why. Our friend Andrew Hellman in the Squeaky Bum Time Facebook group called me out.
And the ICL firm.
Yes.
He's a double
so it's funny because I had a realization yesterday when I saw Andrew's comment in the group that we are effectively like him watching Spurs shit the bed in the manner that they did, and being a fan of the show and knowing that I am a Spurs supporter, he immediately felt the Schadenfreude that I so often feel when Arsenal lose and I tune in to Arsenal Fan TV.
It's been a great season for me for United. I love Ole out. We got like miles and miles and hours of Ole out.
But so what I had the horrifying and sort of honored feeling was that I'm somebody's Arsenal Fan TV. That's a lot to take in for a Spurs supporter. But I got to give the people.
You are a Claude.
Not good enough, Robbie. It's got to go. So
Conte does not have to go.
I am no, but they all do. I'm horrified, and we got to give the people what they want. So from top to bottom, here are your Squeaky Bum Time Tottenham Hotspur player ratings for the first leg of the Carabao Cup semifinal.
You're not out. Remember that.
No. I didn't say we were. I just want all of these players out. Now, if you've listened to the show a lot, you know that I'm not overly dramatic in like these guys got to go or whatever. But there's these guys 11 players on the field. I think I want to keep maybe 3 of them. Okay. So here we go. I'm getting the catapult out. I'm going to shoot the following players into the fucking sun.
Okay.
Japhet Tanganga, I feel bad because he's a kid and he was put in a tough spot into the catapult. You go, boom, he's gone. Okay.
By the way, he was at fault for both goals. The pass to Emerson was short. He telegraphed it, and fucking Alonso was on it like a flash.
Yeah. By the way, that was such an obvious when the lineups came out and we're playing this, and Alonso is going to be in an advanced position with Tanganga basically on that side. You knew that he was going to just abuse Tottenham for 90 minutes. And that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly he's been great.
I fucking hate him. Dude, like incredible. I was sweating like Marcus Alonso playing Mario Kart. That was horrible for 90 minutes. But actually I wasn't, because I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? After it's 2-0, I just kind of like, hello, darkness, my old friend. I just kind of sat there like George Costanza in the fucking couch. Just like, yep. The fucking sprinkled potato chip crumbs all over my fucking chest.
It was bad.
Davinson Sanchez had I'm going to say this is ridiculous. He had a good game, and he was a victim of his surroundings. Like we were talking about with Liverpool and Chelsea, where Van Dijk was only be able to do so much because Konate was nowhere to be seen. The rest of Tottenham's defense was nowhere to be seen. Dave Sanchez was the only guy back there. He was like, can I fucking get some help from somewhere?
Are we calling him Dave? We use Dave Sanchez.
I like calling him Dave. He's a friend of mine. You know, I call him what the fuck I want, all right? So Ben Davies is going to get scapegoated here.
He's got to go.
And it's not fair. He does have to go. He's a good rotational player like for a side like this. But my God, we have to talk about his face. The hello darkness, my old friend, when the ball goes off of Tanganga's forehead, off of his forehead, and honestly, it was a great shot. Bang into the net, 2-0 Chelsea.
The thing is again, Tanganga had time. Tanganga did not have to clear it that way. There was a easier clearance.
Yeah.
He needed a shout. He needed someone to say, leave it. There was no one around. And he can't.
And Davies is just sitting there.
Is that Chelsea created and were dominant and all this stuff. It was just 2 little goals. Like it wasn't.
No, they weren't. I would say that they were fine. They were a beatable side. They did not play nearly their best lineup. But they were so
dominant though. Like you couldn't get the ball.
But here's why. Had the ball. Because you didn't even let me start getting going into this team. Matt Doherty at the left wing back, I suppose. He's a right-footed player. He's playing left back because we're not playing Reguilon for reasons. Okay, that's fine. He was putrid again. He literally looks like he's forgotten how to play the sport. Like
I think Mourinho broke him.
Oh, Mourinho broke him right in half. But the thing is that Mourinho sold Kyle Walker-Peters to get to our next victim, Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg.
He was bad.
And then replaced Kyle Walker-Peters with Matt Doherty. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Jose in the later part of the show when we get back to United. Yeah. But Højbjerg, who we've sung praises on for a while,
it's just too many games.
Fine, but the knives were out for him. And the weird thing is that he looks Remember at the Euros where he was like a top 5 player in the whole tournament?
Yeah, because Denmark is awesome.
I mean, but he was one of the main reasons that Denmark was pushing on, right? And he just all the magic, whatever the fuck he had on him.
The thing that I notice as I'm looking at the lineups is Chelsea had it was one of these things where we don't notice it because we're not sophisticated enough, and you're watching the game, you're feeling the emotion, whatever. But what you could tell was Chelsea seemed to have an extra man all the time. And what they were doing was, and Mount seemed to be free all the time. It was either Mount or Alonso. Because of the way they were set up, it seemed that Chelsea had the 5 men in the back. The midfield's empty. The 3 at the front are pressing. But that left Skip and Højbjerg on their own. And anytime Royale went with Mason Mount, Alonso went behind him. Yep. Anytime he went to Alonso, Mount found the space in between. So they were just banging the ball around. There was no way for Spurs to look good in this game. No. And I suppose I didn't really watch much of the second half. But I mean, I'm sure Spurs played better. It's just natural that they would have.
I mean, okay, Spurs played better in the second half in the context of the fact that they didn't put a ball off of their own player's face and into their own fucking net. Okay,
so and they had shots on goal.
Sure, I believe they had 2. They did. They had 2. So, they got pantsed the entire game. And I think Skip was fine. I'm not going to give Skip any shit.
I thought Skip was fine too. I think he just was trying to run around. And cover for spaces where they just chased shadows. It was
and at the front
end, masterclass. Like
at the front end of the field, Lucas was doing actually a very similar job as Skip, only more advanced. Emerson he's fine. He's not good, but his ceiling is low. So
I watched it back for a particular reason. I wanted because I saw the first half stats and I was like, what the fuck happened? It wasn't lack of effort in this game.
No.
Spurs were running. Spurs were getting after guys. It just seemed like I said, when Chelsea got the ball, they had it for 5 minutes. And whenever Spurs got the ball, it was 2 passes and a fuck up. And if Kane got a hold of the ball, there were 3 guys on him.
Right.
Or if any of the front players got on the ball, someone was on them. And then I felt like Doherty was bad and Emerson seemed to make a bad pass and balls coming out of the back were bad. Like the build-up attempts by Spurs were so bad. And it really came down to when Spurs aren't deep enough yet to not have Dyer in the lineup. You realize, Dyer makes good passes.
Yeah.
Right? Even though he's slow and big-headed.
Banging on Dyer for what feels like years at this point.
He's terrible. He can't defend.
He's come along, believe it or not.
Well,
and he
can pass the ball, right? He can move the ball. And then Sanchez in the middle of the 3, it's not where he should be. He needs to be on the side of one. So everything got disjointed and Spurs just got whacked. And it didn't really help.
One of the reasons they got their shit kicked in.
They're not good enough.
Well, of course. But I'm going to call him out because he's getting along because he's friends with Tom fucking Holland. Heung-min Son has been invisible and awful for 2 months. You know what's hilarious is that Spurs, I think everybody must get a representative for this. Spurs nominated Sonny for the Premier League Player of the Month today. And I went, what the fuck are you watching? Because he's been awful. He never gets shit from anyone, but he has been so bad. And honestly, you could go back to last season right around Christmas. So almost 365 days because he had that obviously torrid start with Kane and they were unbelievable. They were banging in everything. But then he sort of started to tail off and then he went just flatlined, right? And Kane and Kane don't sync up anymore. It's as if something were to happen between the two of them. Now, like you said, the only 2 or 3 good balls I've seen the whole game, one was from Loris, who, by the way, God bless him. He gets a 10 out of 10 just for fucking having to be behind all these morons. I love him, and I am so sorry, Hugo. Please don't ever leave us.
Ben Davies' face gets an 8.
Yeah, absolutely.
But his play was a 4.
Yeah, Kane was bad, but it was like, what did you expect? What do you want him to do? right? Yeah. How much further back do you want him to drop? And the funny thing is there were a couple of times where he fizzed balls.
In that game, he needed to drop in defensively.
Right.
Because
Højbjerg couldn't do his fucking job.
Well, because they were outnumbered, and Saul and Jorginho, and they just were bing, 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 bing. There was nothing. There was nothing. And then
it's very clear that you need help in the middle of the park. And so at halftime, you bring on Tanguy and Ndombele.
It was fine.
Who I've said many times on this show is the most talented player on the field almost all of the time he's playing on both teams. And that was true. He breathed some life into the side. And again, it's a two-leg affair. If you got one back, you're right back in it. You're going home. You have a shot. Just nothing came from it. But now going into the second leg, I'm like, you have to start Ndombele. Fully knowing
he may think that he's going to get a transfer by now and then.
I would hope so, but I do want to get. In the 60th minute, he's going to fucking hit the stop button and be like, I don't want to play anymore.
I do want to give some respect to Chelsea. One, they played really well. They carried over how they played versus Liverpool. They actually played well, even though they drew that game. I thought Ziyech was really good. Havertz was good. Lukaku. I have to say that Tuchel, even though it became a drama, he gets respect for. He gets Lukaku to apologize to the team on a fucking prison video, and then brings him on side.
Didn't I tell you I would do that?
And now he looks like a fucking man management genius. That team now will respect him always. Be like, don't fuck with me. Yeah. I will fuck you.
Didn't I tell you he was going to do that?
I will drop you in the biggest game of the year.
Listen, we gave Tuchel shit, I think, on the last show or maybe one before that. But I said he's going to play. I thought he would score. I was surprised. And he missed a sitter or two. But, I mean, I had Lukaku scoring and Chelsea winning. I thought it was going into this.
He was good.
I was excited, but I thought we would lose. I did not think we would have completely get past.
You needed to nick a goal.
That's all you needed. I know. And here's the thing. We're not going to score 3 at home without Chelsea scoring.
Have you scored 3 at home all year?
Yeah, against Norwich.
Oh,
but
that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't count. But my point is, we're not going to get 3 without Chelsea getting 1. So that, and I don't think away goals count. So I think it goes straight to penalties at that point.
It does. That's
so
why you need it.
Fine, game on. Yeah. If you score 3, if you win 3-1 at home, then you have a coin flip chance, I guess.
Well, fuck it. Why not?
Fuck it.
And then I did notice that one thing I did notice with Kepa, he's a good passer.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think that was an underrated thing at Chelsea being really pacey and coming back at you really quickly. Because there was a lot of long balls, and he'd get it and boom, fire it right into Saul and turn right back into the attack. And you'd be like,
this team is set up to counter, though, with Lucas and Sonny, especially with Alonso and Mount and Jorginho sort of getting forward. There was so much room if you could get there.
They couldn't sting anything together.
I know.
And then Rudiger is a motherfucker. And Sarr, I don't know who he is, but he's a bad motherfucker too, man. They have a young...
but he could be exposed.
Sure. But I do want to go into another a team that used to... Wait, sorry. I've got nothing. Man United is back, and they are throwing their coach under the bus. So if you haven't noticed, they had a poor game against Wolves. And I think Rangnick is finally seeing... Oh, fuck. This is not Schalke. This is not Germany. No, this is not Red Bull. This is not some little podunk, we did this cool project. This is Manchester United, and the players run the asylum. And apparently they're got the knives out for him. The players are unhappy. You know, the press is now kind of going, what has Rangnick ever done?
That's the problem, right? If he tries to pull what Tuchel just did, which, by the way, he more or less was on a lower level, trying to pull rank and be like, I'm the captain here. And like you said, the natives are like, no, you're not. Right?
Yeah, you can't pull rank on Ronaldo. You'll lose. The fans will turn on immediately.
There is one man in the world who can pull rank on Ronaldo, and he's not coming back anytime soon because he's like 85 fucking years old at this point. That's Sir Alex.
I think the other thing is like Tuchel has more intensity and more charisma than Rangnick does. Rangnick is chill. He's an administrator. He's a professor. He's a guy who runs a school.
Right, but he's never had to deal with a big stage and things going sideways.
I think what's happening is for 4 years or 3 years, they haven't had to do shit. because Ole was a bitch. And Rangnick's like, we're fucking practicing.
Yeah.
One of the first complaints was he makes us stay after 5 p.m. in the dark.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys suck.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he has the gravitas to get them to listen. So
No, he
he
doesn't.
can make them practice and he could be telling them the greatest thing in the world. But the difference is like, he's not Steve Gerrard who can just walk in here and be like, who am I? I'm Steve fucking Gerrard. That's who I am.
Yeah,
who are you?
Yeah. Right. No, I agree. And so let's talk about the real story of the day with Manchester United. Ed Woodward came out earlier yesterday that he is going to be stepping down at the end of...
This was known, but it was floating.
Right. He didn't know when. First week of February, which I found ironically funny because it's the end of the January transfer period. Feels fitting. So every Manchester United fan that I know was rejoicing. Oh, thank goodness he's gone. He's finally gone. He's out. Woodward out, blah, blah, blah. Let me ask something. How many teams would be so lucky, because I sure as shit know one, to have that level of involvement, that amount of spend, right? So what my question for Manchester United fans here is, what are you tasking Woodward with as far as transgressions go? What has he done wrong? Because for me, here's what he's done. He's brought in Romelu Lukaku, Paul Pogba, Rafael Varane. I'm going to miss a few. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Angel Di Maria. I don't know, Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, so there's just so many impact players that coaches have said, I want this player. And he has always, as far as I know, Alexis Sanchez also, by the way, flopped, but they had I didn't hear people yelling about Ed Woodward when they were celebrating and retweeting the Manchester United video of Alexis playing Glory, Glory, Man United at Old Trafford on a fucking piano. I didn't see that. So where were you then? You can't do that now.
I think where he was I think for the run of the mill sort of Man United fan, he was doing what they wanted him to do. He was buying famous players to fit into the team. It was more of a Galactico style. Yep. And the other thing was, it would never seem to be the right player at the right time. Like, it was always late in the window, or it was always after, oh, City's going to get him. Oh, now we'll get him. It always seemed reactive and never seemed
I don't agree.
Polished.
I think Pogba,
and that's
Lukaku, though.
But it never seemed polished early on. I think later windows were much better. I mean, there were some bad ones like Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin and, just Matic coming in late. Like, there were issues that were bad, but like, I feel like the last few windows were much, much better, right? When they brought in the young guys. And I think the thing that fucked up this team was Ronaldo. I think he was out of the plans. They were going to go with Greenwood and Rashford, and they panicked.
No, but you brought in Varane. You said it on the show last week. Varane and Ronaldo to the team who finished in second place.
Yeah, you should be better.
Right. So is that down to Woodward? Like, I don't understand.
No, but he hired the coaches. He's the organization.
Hold on. Okay. Since I mentioned Sir Alex, since he retired, Sir Alex has had a hand in every manager appointment. Everyone.
Sure?
If I'm Ed Woodward and part of my job is replacing Sir Alex, who, by the way, and you've said it on the show before, did everything. He was the judge, jury, and executioner. He was the coach. He was the GM. He was the transfer, everything, right? So you're trying to replace one man with a couple. So that's obviously difficult. You being one of them, you meaning Ed Woodward. So right away, that's difficult in and of itself. And
he was not set up to succeed. He actually did okay in a weird way.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
At some point, how is this not more on the shoulders of Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho?
But I think it is. Those guys did lose their jobs.
Right. But like, I struggle to understand. Granted, and by the way, this is all a symptom of the bar being so high for Man United, right? Like, so that's like, you didn't beat City and win the league, and Liverpool has risen to power under this regime. So therefore, you're a failure.
Really, really, really difficult. One of the most, if getting rid of an aging superstar is the hardest thing to do, getting rid of an institution like, or the transition from an institution like Alex Ferguson was even harder.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Way harder. Look at how Arsenal are just coming out of it, and they worked hard at it. I mean, they chopped and changed and kind of watched United and was like, wait a minute, something's fucked up. I think another piece that's missing is Woodward did take over he took over the whole organization. Like there was no left holdover.
Right.
And then the other piece is the Glazers the team has been not modern set up for a long time. I mean, I think the two model franchises, as much as you want to talk about money and whatever, and however you want to deal with it, Chelsea does it one way and City does it the other. You can talk about City, money, blah, blah, blah. Fact is, they spent the same amount of money as Manchester United and they've gotten way more for it.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
they don't, and
we make mistakes. There are plenty of mistakes.
Of course.
Tons.
I mean, how many center backs? You talked about it.
A lot.
So this segues importantly into what our good friend of the pod, Chari, has kind of looked at it and said, well, Woodward sort of ran the team as if he were running the marketing wing only.
Yes, exactly.
And to be fair, he was. And what he was basically trying to do was have his cake and eat it too, in the sense that he was trying to have these big, sexy name signings. Galactico, as you said, but sort of Barcelona-y too. And it wasn't getting...
Late Barcelona.
Late Barcelona.
Post-Neymar Barcelona.
Yeah.
Badly.
It was getting... Instead of... We talked about it. If they had a great defensive midfielder, if they had gone and got Declan Rice instead of Varane and Ronaldo, they might be in first place.
Yes.
Right? So it's not getting the right man at the job. But also... That's so Monday morning quarterback. That's so difficult. Frankly, it's so easy for you and me to sit here and say, so I'm going to take the opposite approach and say, wait a second, where were you, not you, where were the proverbial, the Woodward out people who
they hammered him.
But that's what I'm saying. Where were you when Ronaldo was signing? Where were you when Varane was signing?
Of course.
You were fucking doing backflips when Cristiano Ronaldo came back and he didn't go to City. So I don't want to hear it from you, because the fact of the matter is that he gave you what you wanted. And then you realized what you wanted wasn't what you needed. And now you're stuck with it. And you're fighting for the fourth place instead of fighting for the title.
This is why fans should not run teams. I'll say a million times, right? City have bought, and I know this as a City fan, City have bought players not based on fame, except for Grealish. Grealish was weird. He's sort of a little bit outside of our normal purchases, but Bernardo Silva was just a guy. David Silva, a great player, international for Spain, but not a personality.
He was sort of a name, but Rodri.
But I mean, they're not personalities. They're not driving social media. They're not shirts. They are based. They're being bought solely on their proficiency on the pitch.
I would say that they haven't shied away from names necessarily, but they have to have the substance too. Raheem Sterling was a name. John Stones was a name, right? Like when they bought him.
Yeah.
So,
it's not popularity. These players are.
No.
We see something that will fit within our context.
Yes.
There is no context at United.
Right. And even if you have the entourage or like the excitement around you, it's because City go, okay, that's fine. Well, that means we're gonna have to pay extra for him, like a Grealish. I mean, back when it wasn't cool to be dropping $50 million a piece on a player, you dropped it for Sterling and for Stones.
Tons and tons of players.
Okay. You want to talk about inflation? Think about the international transfer market inflation in the last 10 years, right? Like fucking, I mean, Sterling on any other team other than Liverpool or from going to any other team than City, probably 30 million. And that's not a slight on him. That was a lot of money at the time.
Basically, he's Wilfried Zaha.
What do you mean?
He's essentially the same player, just that he got out of being in South London.
But
he should have. But if he was, he would have just been that guy.
But what I'm saying is that because City were like, 30, fuck it, here's 50, but have him here tomorrow, right? like you better drop him off and make sure he's polished, right?
And City, City do pay over the margins, and there's tons of players that have come and gone, guys that are like Negredo and Wilfred Boney.
Sure.
And there's tons and tons of mistakes and weird guys that Pellegrini like Martin
I wouldn't even say mistakes. They don't fit in with a certain manager, a certain system, as well as somebody might have thought.
Bakary Sagna. I mean, these guys are. Ugh.
Ooh, that's a good deep cut. Nice one. Nice one.
Yeah,
like
I mean, he was there
with the braids. I remember him.
What a weird dude.
Yeah,
I think he ended up in France. I think he played for Henry in Montreal.
Yeah,
very weird. We do have other news. I do want to take a minute. I don't remember what I was going to say about weird transfers. American players moving.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Place. We have Pepe going to Augsburg from Dallas for $25 million. Is that the highest paid number for an American player?
Well, Pulisic, but I mean from MLS.
No, but from MLS, that's a massive
MLS
number.
It probably is.
Yeah, that's a massive number,
and that's a big deal, right? And again, to Augsburg, right? So
selling clubs. They're just above they're a relegation team, but they're like in 12th or 13th. We'll see. He seems to have good movement. I'm interested in what he has to do.
But again, here come the Germans swooping in, finding a top American talent. Now, they paid $25 million for him, which is not your normal.
That's a lot.
Cut. Right. That's a lot. It's
for
not your normal
team,
cut rate.
That's a lot.
To say, right. Like we had a show a long time ago at this point where we basically talked about how the Germans have identified Americans at an early age, have the athleticism, and they can sort of be taught. And they can be crafted into how to play the game and all that stuff. Gio Reyna comes to mind, right? Now, obviously, Pulisic and others. Weston McKennie, for one. Who, by the way, come on, Paratici. Bring him to fucking Tottenham.
Can he pass?
Yes, better than Pierre-Emerick fucking Højbjerg he can. But yeah, the Germans basically strike again and say, this is a player who we think we're going to invest $25 million in. We think we can turn him around for 75 to an English team in 2 years. I'm hoping that you can.
And these are marketing ploys, right? The German league,
of course.
The German league is lousy at marketing its league. It's so insular. It tries its damnedest, but it just can't penetrate the U.S. market the way the Premier League can. They have all the production value. It has the loud fans. It has everything. I'll tell you what it doesn't have. Any fucking competition.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. No, it doesn't. And you've said it many times about how basically they're all just feeder clubs for Bayern, and it's true. But I'm excited. He plays
really well. He goes to Bayern.
Hey, listen, we are less than a year away, which sounds ridiculous, from the World Cup. And so if Ricardo Pepi can get some real minutes and start to really craft his game at that level, at that European level.
Oh,
he becomes a player for this US
City
team.
Player, NYCFC's own champion center back, Julian Sands, goes to Rangers in Scotland.
All right, Scots. All right, I didn't see that one. Terrific.
Yeah. Good, I think it's a loan, so he's going to go and come back.
That's fine. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's six.
But Scotland is Scotland MLS.
They're above it. They're above it. I'll tell you why. They're above it for the atmospheres. They're above it for the
number of fans. Yeah.
Whatever, sure. But for the Scottishness instead of Englishness, right? Like that experience is going to teach you more about the game than MLS could in 6 months than MLS could in 30 years.
Yeah, he just has to play one Old Firm derby and be like, oh fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
This fucking matters. This is some old school shit.
Right.
This is
right.
We're gonna bomb your house.
Right.
You Catholic
You're going
scum.
From we're playing the Houston Dynamo to that guy's gonna kill my family. Right. So this is real. It's a coming of age that it's not just about the quality.
Can
of
I
play.
just pour a little bit out for sectarian violence? My God, I love it so much. On Twitter, when Sands got his thing, someone made a joke about Sands, who was one of the famous IRA hunger strikers who didn't eat for 3 weeks. They're so on top of it. They're just like, oh, Sands, that's the same name as the guy who had a hunger strike from the IRA. This happened in the 80s. Like, they're just on their sectarian shit.
So
They've got songs about killing people and bombings and IRAs.
Listen,
and baseball bats. So Rangers are the Protestant team, and Celtic are the Irish team, and Glasgow goes to war. The Catholic team. And Glasgow goes to war They must have derbies like every other day. It seems like they play all the time.
Let me run back to Chelsea Tottenham for one more thing, because I
Uh-huh.
saw a club statement today from Tottenham.
Uh-oh.
And let me preface this by saying I do not condone homophobia or anything or any of it.
I condone it.
What I'm saying is that
No, I don't.
there is a familiar chant and song about Chelsea being male prostitutes, blah, 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 blah.
Rent boys, yes.
Rent boys is the term. Yes, correct. And it's shit like that. And take.
But
it's
the
also, you
away
have to
fans
take
chanting
the-
"Yid Army" was fine.
Well, it's our thing, right? And whatever. I'm not saying what I'm saying is that, like you said, the depth of insult in Europe is so impressive. And yeah, like they often cross lines. I don't think
there's some real line crossing.
By the way, I don't think this is on the same par as some other lines, but
the hissing,
that's about as bad as it gets. That's about as bad as it gets, right?
Really bad.
And believe me, a lot of it is directed at Tottenham fans. So
Yeah.
if Tottenham fans are making a couple ha 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 jokes, you know what? While you guys are kicking the living fucking shit out of us, good on you. Good on you. But no, it's the depth of hatred.
Did you hear the Lukaku Inter song?
Oh, I don't. Oh, yes, I did.
He's Inter.
Yeah.
Romelu Lukaku. He's Inter Milan.
Yeah.
That was
I mean,
good.
look, it's the way that they can continue
to.
to. Oh, they definitely can sometimes. And you know what? The bridge
Good.
wasn't that loud. I mean, look, it's a nothing game. It was in the bag early.
I
so
thought
like,
it was
whatever.
pretty rowdy. It seemed crowded.
Oh, it was. And actually, I thought there were sections that were empty. I was actually sort of surprised by that. And I think that was sort of ticket allocation things and whatever.
Yeah, the Spurs.
I'm not criticizing either team. And again, I'm not saying I condone the idea of whatever. But let's separate for a second the actual what that is and just having a laugh, right? Like that's realistically where we are. I know that that's impossible in the year 2022. I get that.
The year of our Lord 2022.
The year of our Lord 2022. But like, the depth that they go to these songs, these chants, and again, they do cross lines sometimes, but the fact that they have so much vitriol, and it actually brought me back to something. I turned off the Tottenham game and I went, all right, whatever. I'll just watch some hockey or whatever tonight and just kind of cleanse my sports palate of that nonsense. The worst part is that they don't have anything else. So as much as I started drinking the Kool-Aid and I started coming around and I don't really care about the Carabao Cup, but fuck it, I'm in this time. They do this every time. And I just was like, why aren't suicides higher in England? Like,
they are high.
Yeah. Like, I don't get it.
No, I think that they have a weirdly less obsessive sport culture. I don't think that it's as 24/7. Not as many people have cable, so they literally go to games and watch match of the day. That is the extent of footballness and Twitter. I think they're much more sport Twitter focused than we are. And I do remember this. It is much more casual. I mean, if you think about our time at Tops Inside Kick, the kids, I don't get the sense that there's like the live or die stuff. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be. It's just different. It's different. It's different, I think.
Right. Oh no, it is. And
it's funny. It doesn't take on a sort of like life or death kind of. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's just different.
But then they get excited about darts, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? That would be like, well, yeah, that would be like me watching an NFL game on Sunday and then be like, oh, bowling's on. That's fucking cool.
Well, if it was only NFL,
I would.
You might watch darts.
Oh, Jesus, that's what I mean. I might just fucking kill myself then. I don't know.
Yeah. I do want to go. I want to go one more round through the FA Cup. Do you have any games that you are interested in? Do you pick it up
so much so that I don't even know?
Okay.
Let me look at them. Oh no. There was one of the. I don't know any of the non-Premier League sides, if I'm being quite honest. Okay. But West Ham Leeds sounds really fun, and like you said, Man United Aston Villa sounds awesome. No, those are the only two. Okay. Kidderminster, though. I'm in on Kidderminster and Reading because I think I told the story on the show one time that I was drinking at the holiday party for the Reading, basically backroom staff, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. And so they're all really good people.
I've got a killer stat for you. You ready?
Go for it.
Chesterfield versus Chelsea. This is only England has this. It's amazing. Chesterfield's one victory against Chelsea was back in October of 1905.
Wow.
In a league match, winning 1-0. It was Chelsea's first ever home defeat in the Football League.
Wow. Chelsea haven't faced Chesterfield in the FA Cup since the 1949-50 season. We all remember that. Winning 3-0. Classic game. Winning 3-0 in a fifth-round replay after a 1-1 draw.
Oh, yeah, that's one thing that we all remember. The FA Cup normally has replays. They have repealed replays. So these games will go to extra time, directly to penalties. Replays were really cool for the poor team.
Wait. Is it going to extra time or directly to penalties?
Extra time and penalties.
And then penalties. Got it.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Got it. That's good to know because in a late 1-1 game, I'm going to be I would have been cursing up and down like, we got to go play Morecambe again. This is fucking bullshit.
But for Morecambe, it's the greatest thing ever. So we won't have replays.
That's unfortunate.
Which some of the most famous games. So for the uninitiated, the FA Cup is every team in England that is up and down the country has a chance to be in it. It starts with 792 teams. The championship
and it starts in August.
Yes,
it starts in August.
Right. The championship and the Premier League jump in the third round.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that nice opportunity to bounce in after there's already been, dozens and dozens around, whittling it down to, I think this is 64. I think this is
right. Yeah. Like, so you're talking about almost 800 teams being whittled down to, I think, like you said, I think
right.
64.
So when a team that is non-league, so non-league means you are not professional, you are outside of League 2, which is the third tier down. So there's the Premier League is 20 teams, Championship is 24, League 1 is 24, League 2 is also 24. When you drop out of that into the conference leagues, you are considered not in the professional game. You're in the lower divisions.
Right.
But those teams are professional. And the reason why we brought up that Chelsea game is that Chelsea are playing the highest rated team that are non-league. So Chesterfield is currently sitting top of the championship of the national division.
National League. Yeah.
It's called and they, like I said, they're undefeated. But it's very cool. I mean, people shit on the FA Cup a lot. I find it to be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I've come around.
Some of my most painful games have been specifically City losing to fucking Wigan. If Wigan fucking advances, I will be petrified of them because Will Griggs was on fire when dipshit.
And your defense was terrified.
No. What the hell was that? What was the bald black midfielder that City had? Oh God, he plays for Everton now. I can't remember his name. Anyway.
Wore 18. He wore number 18.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Fabian Delph.
Yes, he got sent off in that game, yep. and Pep never played him again.
Yes, that's right. You said one game that I really should have called out. Millwall versus Crystal Palace. Oh, I'm excited. I'm going to get up for that one on Saturday. I'm very excited for that.
So famously, Millwall is known for being the most violent and disgusting fans in all of England. West Ham and Millwall represent East London, which is the most working class part of London, and historically made up the most famous soccer hooligans. Probably in the heyday, late 70s, early 80s. You can easily find half a dozen coming of age stories of working class kids getting into fights about it. All of them involve Gary Oldman. They're really, really good. If you like absurd movies with bad acting, they're basically movies that try and make working class people seem stupid for following football, and you shouldn't do this. So there was a concerted effort. Going along, what we've talked about, sometimes jokingly, sometimes not, is the Hillsborough disaster. That was really like a class battle between the North and the South of just like, these stupid Scousers got themselves killed, when in fact they actually was incompetent and were crushed.
Mm-hmm.
and they're still fighting about it. There's been a movie on in England that talks about the documentary. They won't give it up.
Yeah. Let's not end the show on that note. Let's talk about something else before we go.
We're not ending on people getting crushed.
No. Talk to me.
What about bombing of the English?
Steven Gerrard. I think this is his first time playing United.
Since he got sent off after 35 seconds. Yes, that's correct.
He's gonna have the boys jazzed to go into Old Trafford, and I think they come out with a win. And you know why? It's because Ed Woodward is leaving.
If Aston Villa beats United at United, it will only be the second time any team has won twice at United in a season. Chelsea 2004 beat them twice at home.
Oh, I see it. And Tottenham in 1989-90.
Yes.
Oh, wait. That was the two teams. You know who the third team was? And we'll all remember this again. Aston Villa themselves have done it in the 1919-20 season. So,
yes. When guys were walking around with one leg after getting gassed and bombed, and they were
correct.
Like, "Oh, can you help me out?" And they got one arm, and they got chips on their faces from from getting killed by Germans.
There it is.
The first time. This is the
first time. Technically,
German.
that is not a World War II reference. It is a World War I reference. All right.
Although they did
wrap it up. That's it.
Okay. That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast. We're not Nazis. With Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. He is a fascist and a black shirt. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're also part of Fan Hub. I love you guys. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show. It's been a while, and there's one review that says that we're misogynist, terrible people. Can someone just write a review so we're not there first?
In fairness.
That's the end.